Hey guys, just a quick little update before we go any further. As many of you have noticed, there was about a month gap between videos. This was not by choice. I got a strike on this video for spam, deceptive activity, and scams, whatever the hell that means. So honestly, it blew my mind. I didn't even know where to start. So I was going back and forth with them for a few weeks and really got no help, other than some really cryptic references to two things that exist within my videos. Some close-up shots, and unfortunately, the car wash. So bottom line, the world we live in now is just different. So to keep the channel from being 100% banned, some changes are going to happen. So let me start with the bad news first. First is you'll see this little blurred out graphic appear occasionally over stuff. I'm simply just keeping things YouTube friendly. Don't hate on me. It's not my choice. The second is the car wash. And we're going to have to remove this completely. So, okay, the good news. I've created a totally free area within my website called Club Leshiy. Once you register, you'll have access to 100% of this uncensored video. So I'm going to make some full-blown, full-feature Leshiy car wash videos and all the videos that have been banned, as well as just uncensored stuff. You're not going to see that little blurred thing. So there's also some great offers in there from video sponsors. So I'm not paid by any of these particular companies, but I do have some small affiliate relationships with a few of them. You buy something and you're helping support the channel. Additionally, to help with the cost of maintaining this project, I've set up a Patreon account. 100% optional. Some folks have already gone in there. Very much appreciated. So you can go check out the details in the description. But with that little update, let's get back to this video. Warning. If the video title and description went over your head, let me be really clear on what you're about to watch. This is a backyard hunting video, which helps keep the population of pests under control. The bonus? Some of these guys actually taste pretty dang good. Potentially graphic footage is shown as I legally dispatch nuisance pests in my yard. I use bait to bring them to a safe place for a clean and humane dispatch. Don't confuse this with hunting in the woods. It's not. Some of these critters are shot to protect my property and are animals like my old dog Piper. If hunting and pest control offend you, don't watch. Simple. So with that behind us, let's get on with the video. Oh man, what a crazy story. So, I let my guard down for just a minute and let Piper out without checking the security cameras. Sure enough, my luck, she got into it with a skunk. But man, she messed up this thing's back leg. So, I actually think it got stuck in a fence, but I didn't notice this until later. So, I was able to get Piper into the garage and she stunk. So, I got her in there and then cruised around the other side of my house to flank this thing like I did the chupacabra in the last video. So, coming at it from this angle gives me a little bit more space, which for a skunk is obviously critical. This thing was already spraying. So it definitely had something messed up with his leg. So I crept up, leaned up against this tree house to steady myself, and I stuck a 9mm 81 grain pellet into its chest to put this guy to sleep. Yeah, I said it, a 9mm pellet. But I'll save that for a whole other video, in fact a series. The Nasty 9, that thing is no joke. This thing was pretty stressed out, and it's kind of stuck in the fence, and that's why it's wiggling and going back and forth. But that 81 grain 9mm pellet made quick work, and it just went to sleep. EDgun Leshiy presents Skunk Pest Control. In this video, we're going to dive into shot placement on skunks to help mitigate that puff of awful that comes out of the business end. While nothing is guaranteed when shooting an animal, there is one exception to this rule. It's a headshot on a skunk. In my experience, a headshot will 100% result in them spraying everywhere. A shot to the vitals, however, is where I've been able to fully eliminate in a lot of cases, or at least greatly reduce the spray. A skunk's heart and lungs are accessible, just like a typical small animal, right behind the shoulder, kind of in that armpit area. What's different, however, with a skunk is it's a little lower in the chest. So use this dot that I'm putting here on this guy as a reference point. So unless you're laying prone, you're typically shooting on a downward angle on these guys. So this point of reference is really going to give you the best opportunity for a clean, humane, and stress-free kill. And I'll get into the stress part here in a second. If you're somehow finding yourself at the same level, if you're shooting up at them, not that they're climbing trees, but if up on a hill or something like that, then you can use a little bit lower point of impact. I go a little bit higher because a lot of times I'm shooting actually from a pretty elevated position on them, and it's coming right down through the lungs into the heart. This one I'm actually laying prone, and you can see this super low shot placement, but it was perfect. Skunks spray when they're stressed. On this one, you'll see me tuck a 34 grain JSB right into its ear as it looks off to the right. It's an instant and humane shot, but watch the body and nerves go through a few seconds of violent spasms. You'll see this on squirrels too. It's really no different than a skunk. However, there's a sack of disgusting liquid just waiting for a little push to come flying out on a skunk. That little push comes from the nerves firing. Alternatively, with a single well-placed shot to the vitals, you can deliver a lethal blow where the skunk really doesn't even know what happened. I can say this as a skunk sprays 100% when they're stressed. The fact that they're not spraying is telling me that the skunk has no idea what happened, most likely from a quick little shot of adrenaline. This is exactly what happened on this one. Let's watch a shot, and then I'll switch over to the security camera so that you can see it kind of in a larger context. Plan on a kill zone of maybe 30 feet. So I've had them be far less than that. In this case, this one's about 8. Most of the time, a tiny little amount will leak out right as they die. However, I've had plenty that resulted in 0 spray altogether, and this was one of them. Here's a little pro tip. When you're retrieving them, be really careful of pushing against their stomach with a shovel or whatever you're going to use to pick them up. All it takes is just a little bit of pressure and it'll start to leak out. So let's actually check out one where that's exactly what happened, and it was brutal. So I was able to lead this guy pretty well and sneak one into the bread box. It's quartered and walking away, so that shot placement a little further back was actually perfect. So better to be lucky than good, I guess. So right through that soft tissue of its gut and into the vitals. There's a little critter highway right here along this fence line where they duck under the fence. So they have to squeeze themselves to fit, and that little bit of effort of squeezing himself is what pushed, I think, the remaining air out of its lungs, and it was over. Well, it was over for him. For me, it was just beginning. Most of my tips come from first-hand experience of doing it wrong. This guy got himself pinned under the fence, as you saw from that last shot, and the ends of the fence were just sticking right into its back. So my first move was to try to go under it and kind of dig out a little bit, and I had lifted up the shovel, and the pressure of it just pushed down onto that skunk, and it released its spray right into me. So I dropped the shovel and just started gagging. Fortunately for you guys, you're not going to hear it here because the mic on the ATN Thor 4 is so sensitive, so it's hard to hear me over in the bushes over there gagging, over the bugs and the trees, making all that noise. So it's probably better anyways. I finally worked the thing free, and I used the shovels like redneck chopsticks and was able to finish the job. In real time, I thought this one was a clean vital shot, but it walked about 30 feet before collapsing into my neighbor's yard. So in reviewing the footage, I can see it right here with you. I think what happened was it stretched out here at the last second, and I hit him on the back side of the vitals, not just that direct heart punch. So I texted my neighbor real quick, and he flicked on his backyard lights and confirmed it was there. So I went over and retrieved it. And it was done. It didn't spray, so it definitely wasn't a painful gut shot or anything. I just caught the back side of those vitals, so it just took a second. This next one, I had to thread the needle a bit through the plants. I've had a ton of experience dispatching skunks with an air gun, and one of the things that takes a little bit of practice is picking up where that shoulder is. The legs are really short, and being dark black, there isn't much contrast, especially at night. One thing I suggest is a Diablo-shaped pellet and maybe a little bit more power than you normally would. The reason being is that if you shoot into the shoulder, which is very easy to do, the Diablo pellet will be hard enough and it's going to break through it and get right to the vitals. I got a text from my early warning security camera system that it detected movement in the table for one. Sure enough, old Stink Eye was out there. So just as I was pulling the trigger here, you'll see it turned and kind of quartered, and it almost gave me the old Texas heart shot. What happened though was I was able to sneak an 81 grain JSB just behind its ribs, straight through the vitals and out its chest. It does not get any more humane than this. I'm going to end this video with this last one. You can see the one I just dropped laying right there. I was just about to go retrieve it when a guy popped out from under the fence and started sniffing around. Skunks den up in groups, sometimes upwards of 9 can exist in a den, but they're typically wander around solo. So once I shoot one, though, I'm on high alert for the following nights when letting Piper out. But it's really rare that they come back to back like this. So I was so locked in on this guy, I didn't even notice the possum watching him from the table for one. So my backyard is like Jurassic Park of pests. So that possum spooked the skunk for a second, but I had the security camera footage up on my phone and saw it circling. So I stayed there and ready. And I use this little low kind of level table for one. I'll throw some peanuts in there if I see skunk activity. As you've seen from previous footage, it forces them to kind of stand up on their hind legs, and it really exposes that lower chest cavity for a clean and humane shot. This is a good example of why I use a Diablo-shaped pellet on skunks. This is a 9mm 81 grain JSB, so there is no doubt, but I think I just caught the back of its shoulder blade, and so the pellet made quick work of it, and it just blew up its vitals. It walked a few steps behind the table for one, and it was all over. Backyard hunting helps keep the population of potential pest animals under control. The bonus? Some of these guys taste pretty dang good. So here's one of my all-time favorite squirrel recipes. Press pause to get the full details.